Hello, this time I'm going to talk about micro-frontend architecture. We have been using this architecture for a little while. However, the approach that we've been using is to have nginx configure at the front, and every time the user tries to go to one of the pages, for example, /home, we're targeting that specific app, or /checkout, we are targeting another app. This work both on every application are decoupled, and every single team are in charge of their apps and they can deploy application independently. However, the downside of this approach is every time the user go from one page to another, for example /home or to checkout, they'll have to reload the entire page over and over. If they go back, the entire page get reload once again, and so on. In this video, I'm going to talk about Webpack Module Federation to solve that issue. And the idea behind of this is to have a single container app in front who will orchestrate all the other application, or it will load application or module or components into the main one. That way we can keep our single page application experience without having to reload over and over every single time and making unnecessary API requests. That way we can improve the user experience. We're going to split this video in multiple categories. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to have two applications. One we'll call main, that will contain basic components that we can share with the shop or the other application. Then we're going to add those components. We're going to configure the module federation. Then we're going to share those specific components that we add from in main to our shop app. We are going to load the entire page from shop app to the main application. So in every single pages, this is a concept on Next.js that we have. Pages is the entire view. We can load it into the main app. We can navigate between those pages to show the transition, the smooth transitions between those. We're gonna export at the end those static asset. We're gonna deploy it into S3 bucket. And we will be able to load those specific component shop from a main app deployed. So let's go ahead. Here we're having our just two app. Let's go to the terminal. We're gonna run npm. Let me go inside npm. Dev just to run our main application. It's exported, or it's using the port 3000. We can open and we can see, oh, it's working perfect. Now we can go back. Let's do some tiny changes to the screen. Let's just put something, welcome to my main app, and port 3000. It's working perfect. We can go back and let's go now to our shop application. I'm gonna open another terminal. Yep, all right. Let me get inside and npm run dev. Let me just change the port number. So this application we're gonna open in through 3001. That way we can have different port numbers for our main and our second app. We can open, let's see how it looks like. All right. Now we need to make some changes to be able to differentiate between those two applications. you just do the same thing, remove some content, default content. We're gonna add welcome to shop on port 3001. Awesome. So as you can see, we have two applications, one 3000, the second one in 3001. All right, let's go back. Let me close this. Now what we're going to do is to config our module federation. Before that, let's just bring those two components that I already created. I'm placing those two components into the main app, just our simple component, our footer and header. I'm just going to import the footer. As you can see, imported from component, footer, and the navigation. So let me install the nav bar. This is my nav from main app. Now we can go down, install our footer. Let me just remove this. This is basically the same thing what we have in the footer. Okay. This is the same thing already did before. The navigation, it's just like a simple component. It's received for children, and it will render. Now let's go back to the terminal 1. Let me run it to see if everything looks fine. Go back to app 1, reload it. We can see this is the main app. The footer is right there. We just need to make a tiny configuration in our style. Let me just go here, go down. Just gonna create a nav. It's not created. Gonna paste those styling. I'm gonna change the color a little bit to make the difference between the nav and the footer. All right, you can see we already have the nav. I'm gonna make another changes to the color for the footer. Oh, okay. I put the color in the wrong place, so let me add the background color. Okay, cool. I don't want to scroll. Let me just make this view smaller, 80. Right, perfect. That way we don't need to scroll down. And let me run shop to make sure we have both applications up and running. Okay, so as you can see, the shop app, it doesn't have the nav and the footer, and this is what we want to do. We want to share those two components, but we don't want to duplicate. We want to reuse the same two components. So okay, as you can see, we want to place those components into the shop app. So now it's a time to go and configure our Webpack module federation. Let's go back here to the code, close those things. Okay, let me clean this up a little bit. We go to next config.js. The first things that we need to do is to install our module federation for nextjs. This is from Webpack, so it will be available for pure just React or for Vue or any other app who use Webpack. So first things, it's to import our plugin, and then we're gonna do a custom Webpack configuration in our nextjs. Okay, Webpack config options, and let's just add the configuration. We're gonna export, and then we're gonna make some changes here. As you can see, we're just using the plugin. Now what we need to do, the first thing is to name our app. So it's called main app, and it will connect to the remote app. It will be to the shop app. I think it's better just to call it shop. Yeah. So we're gonna connect to the port 3001. That is where our shop application is being hosted. And what we're going to do is we're gonna look for the remote m3.js. All right, let's see if that run. Perfect. Oh, we have a small issue here. Okay, we can find Webpack. That's because I'm using nextjs 13, and that version, it's not coming with Webpack by default, so we need to install it. So the install npm install Webpack. Okay, it's done. Well, of course, we didn't find anything yet, but at least our application is running. That's what we want to make sure. And now we need to do the same thing for the second app. So let's go to shop app config file. Let's just copy the same configuration here and paste it. Okay, let's import. And we need to install as well. Let's go back to our terminal, clear npm install Webpack, but also we need to install our plugin. So let's go with our plugin. It's already installed. Now we need to make those configuration changes. We are in shop configuration, and now we want to connect to main. Let me just rename instead main app, just gonna call it main. That way now we can connect from main to this port number 3000. So now main is connecting to shop to the port 3001, and shop, it will connect to main in the port 3000. Also, what we want to do on main configuration is to expose those components that we want to share. So we want to share the footer and the nav. So we are back to the main app. Now expose the footer. We are going to the location where we have that component. So now we're gonna add the nav component. Okay, nav. Okay, and now we just make sure like it's working. Let me make sure the shop app is working. import 3001. Okay, reload, still working fine. Now coming back to our shop app. What we want to do here is to be able to dynamically import those components that are in our main app. So we import from nextjs, dynamic import from main/nav, and then we're gonna install the nav. Okay, it's here, but okay, nav. This is the nav. In app 2 in shop. Now we're gonna go and run npm run dev. We are loading our main app first because we want to run the main and expose those components, and now we are going to run the shop app. So remember, one it's import 3000 and the other 3001. Then we go to our main app, reload it, it's working. And on the second app, as you can see, the nav, it's imported as well. So also it import the style for the footer, but we're just gonna remove the default footer that we have here, and we are going to import the footer dynamically as well from the main app. Footer. Change it here. Let me install it down below main. Save it. Okay, we can go back and you can see this is the footer, but this is from the main application when we are hosting those two components. We can make a tiny changes here on the footer. Powered by main application. Okay, so if we go back, we reload. As you can see, we are reloading the same footer from the main app. Now, if we go back to the documentation, there's something cool that I noticed that we can expose all the pages on Next.js. So if we go to pages, right now we just have one. Let's create one called catalog. My work, TJS. Let me just copy the same content here. Quick, change the name. We can keep this footer and header. Okay, this is the catalog page. We can go back, we reload our shop, and now we go to the page catalog. As you can see, this is our second page. Now, what we want to do is to add the extra configuration. We want to expose pages true. Now we are exposing all the pages, and now we can go back to the main app. We don't have that page, but what we're going to do, let's create another page in main app, say catalog on main.js, and here is when we are going to dynamically import our catalog from where we want to say, hey, let's import it from shop /pages because I already exposed it, and catalog. And then we export a default, and let's just go back to the main app. This is our catalog on shop. It's working. Now go back to the main app. We can go now to catalog on main, and voila, it's loading the same page that we have in our shop. Now let's import our catalog component. Well, not first, let's just add some changes here. This is on main, on shop. So we're adding on shop. Now on main, we're going back and load our catalog from main. Again, as you can see, that's the changes reflected. What we are actually doing, this is the file when it's loading giving us the instructions, or it's giving the remote instructions about all the modules that can be shared, and that way we can load those modules on the runtime. Okay, let me go to the first screen. Let me just clean this a little bit. Go to the main. This is just to be able to shut down one application, and then, as you can see, it's still working. The only thing that we can do is handle when we're no longer able to load those pages. Now I have this catalog. I'm gonna create another components. I have already created a catalog list. It's basically making an API request to this endpoint, and then we'll retrieve some result with the cards, a few cards. And now I'm gonna install those this component catalog from that components, that component catalog. And I'm going to, let me rename it catalog components, because we already, my page is already called catalog. So now install it, catalog. Save it, let me reload catalog, and now it just fetching those specific, making API requests and fetching those data and rendering. Now, because we have this specific component in our shop application, we want to be able to use, well, you can see if I'm going to my catalog, I can render, but I want to also be able to use that specific component isolated without the page. So now on shop 2, I'm going to expose my catalog component. It's in components, then catalog.js. And then we are going to run back again our shop component. Let's go back to our main, and in index we are going to dynamically import that specific catalog components once again. Okay, we do catalog components equal then dynamic import from where? From shop app /catalog. Then we're gonna install this catalog list here, catalog component, and then I go to my root directory, and as you can see, we are consuming. Then we can navigate through pages, and this is the main purpose, that we want to be able to navigate from one page to another without having to load the entire website. It's just having this smooth single page application experience. And one of the good nice functionality that Next.js have is just will load only those parts that are dynamically changing, and if we are defining a layout, so we can just go inside the console here, and we can see what are the parts that are rendering every time we are going back and forward. It's rendering. Well, this is basically the entire page is being rendering. Alright, the last thing that we are going to do now is to be able to export the shop module as a static asset and then host those assets into our S3 bucket. Let's go back ahead. Let's go and locate our shop app, then package. Let's just make a tiny configuration to the build to be able to export those configuration. Go back to the terminal, npm run build. Now it's building the static asset. Okay, perfect. Now, as you can notice, we have a new directory here called out. Let's open it up. So this is all this file. Now we're going ahead. I have a S3 bucket already created. Let me just move it here. It's called module federation test. I'm going to upload my files. Let's locate those files, demo, and then chop out. First, I'm gonna upload those files, and I'm gonna add a folder. The upload is completed, so I'm gonna close it, make sure all my files are there. Let me make sure also to set public ACL to be able to access to those file. Let me close it, and now property, go to static website hosting, enable it, entry point index HTML, get down, save. And now this should be the URL. Okay, perfect, it's working. / catalog HTML. Perfect, it's loading. So now we are going to use the root URL, go back to our application. The idea now is to load those components or the catalog component list from the S3 bucket inside our main app. So let's open main app, go to next config. So here we are telling our application the remote shop is in localhost 3001, but now we're gonna tell them it's in 3000. It's in the URL for the S3 bucket. So I'm gonna save it, and we're gonna tell our application this remote entry is in this new address. Let's go back to the terminal, app1 npm run dev. It should be working. Let's go back here, reload, and still working. So let's make sure we are loading the component from the right address. So let's go to network, reload again, then locate the remote entry, this one. So you can see module federations remote entry is being located in the new path that we already select. That pretty much is it. Thank you for watching.